So here at 613, we often get asked, do I need to spend $1,000 to get a quality heat press machine? Well, we spent less than $200 to get a press that we purchased on Amazon. And we're going to open this thing up, check it out, and see how this kind of compares to a quality press machine that we will be spending over $1,000 on. So without further ado, let's get cracking. So we did pop the plastic to make sure we weren't ordering cinder blocks. And it comes with a little operator's manual. And we'll be sure to put this thing off to the side. Don't lose that. And open up some styrofoam. Be sure to recycle that when the time comes. And here we have it. Inside the box. Come on in. Inside the box, we've got a 15 by 15 heat press. Like I said, we spent less than $200 on this machine. And I'm going to try to get this thing out without destroying myself. Not too bad, it's about 50 pounds. And there's nothing left in the box but some more styrofoam. I'll move that to the side here. Okay, so here we have our 15 by 15 heat press, which is certainly large enough to be pressing most of the transfers that we offer. We do have a sheet size that is larger than this, but for our 15-cent transfer, this would be plenty enough surface area. And now it is in some plastic, so I'm going to carefully remove this plastic and slowly inspect this thing as I move along. Now, the first thing I'll notice is it's definitely formed metal, and it's kind of just held together with screws in the back here, but looks maybe deceiving. And slowly get this plastic over here. And I do see that. All right, it is now free of the plastic. I'll put that back in the box. Okay, so the first thing we're going to notice here is it does have a digital readout. It looks like it has a conversion chart from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So the readout is more than likely going to be just in Celsius. We got a pressure knob here on the back for adjusting pressure, and nice foam knob on there. And this is zip tied shut, so give me just a few moments while I get something to release this thing, and we'll get it plugged in and fire it up. Now, the first thing I want to check for in a quality heat press machine is that we've got a flat upper platen to make sure that when we apply pressure, it's applying that pressure evenly across our transfers. If there's any location where there's any bowing, you're going to have insufficient pressure, which may result in a failed press. So I'm going to just take this square we got, and I'm going to hold it corner to corner. And I'm going to look for any gaps throughout there. Now, I am seeing some small areas where I can absolutely see some divots. And we'll check the other way as well. And kind of the same thing. There is a slight concaveness in the center. And we can supplement that with some photographs. So that is a little concerning. Without having that kind of even pressure, like I mentioned, it can result in a bad press. But now that we've checked that, we might be able to compensate for it with pressure. So what I'm going to do now is before I even get the temperature up, I want to check the pressure settings. And you can do that with what we call the dollar bill test. I don't have singles, but I do have some fives. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to arrange them around each side, kind of dial it in. And if I can get it heavy enough where they don't pull out, I'll know that I'll have heavy pressure on this press. Mr. Lincoln, if you don't mind, sir. And let's lock this thing down. Now, without changing the knob at all, I can't take the backs out at all, but the fronts come out without any effort. So what I'll do is I'll open this thing up, and then I'll see if I can adjust that pressure. All right, I gave it 2 full turns, and let's see how that changes. Now, one thing to note, when you have that screw knob in the back, most of that pressure isn't going to be applied to the back. You kind of get like a pinching effect, and that's absolutely what happened right out of the box. Here we go. All right, so that one locked a lot more firmness. Once again, obviously my backs are firmly in there. And believe it or not, those things are staying put. So I think that's going to be firm pressure. unlocks pretty easily. Let's bring this thing up to heat. Got it set for 325 degrees, which is going to be the setting for our 15-cent transfer or that varsity formula. Now that I've got it turned on, I'm going to start a timer, and I want to see actually how long it takes to get up to that temperature. So we'll be back shortly. So it took about 8 minutes to get up to 325 degrees. And I'm actually testing this, the temperature now with a pyrometer. And this is going to make actual contact with it. I don't want to use a heat gun because it's not going to be measuring light waves. And this is a reflective surface and it won't give me an accurate measurement. So I'm going to just check 5 points across this thing here. Top left, a little hotter, 328. Top right, we're just about there, 325. Dead center, 323, 324. This back corner here, wow, 300 degrees. This back corner here, 307. So that we could just see on this 15 by 15 surface, we've got some temperature variations of about 25 degrees. If I'm doing an oversized print, or not oversized print, but I'm doing our standard 15-cent transfer print, there's going to be lots of different areas that are getting different temperatures. If this does not hit 325 for 7 seconds, our transfers aren't going to cure. You're going to have a failure on your hands. So this already is kind of concerning with that heat. Can I turn up the heat and compensate? Maybe, but that's going to make the front hotter, the back a different temperature, and I'm still going to have a lot of variance. Now that we've checked that temperature, let's move on and press something and see how it goes. I have it set for 325 degrees for 7 seconds. I'm going to press this District T. It's a perfect weight provided to us graciously by Sanmar. I'm going to load my t-shirt on my heat platen. Try to load it as straight and evenly as I can. It's a little smaller than I'm used to, so definitely want to make sure I'm doing this as rightly as I can. I've got a varsity transfer. Arrange that accordingly. Now, one thing to note is I did say that the back area was kind of lighter, although without a pyrometer, I never would have known that. Now I've closed it, locked pretty well. My timer has started. It's a nice sounding alarm. And I'm going to peel that transfer away. It peeled pretty easily. And if I look at it, further inspection, I can definitely see the fabric of the garment throughout it. It actually does look like I have pretty decent adhesion. Now, what I will be doing, though, is I'm going to wait about 24 to 48 hours after this pressing and give it some wash testing and see how it does. The reason we want to wait so long is this curing process is still happening. It's a chemical bonding process, and we do need to wait for it to off-gas before we expose it to any laundry chemicals. Okay, so we kind of dialed in the temperature for our first one. We've pressed a shirt. We are going to see how that holds up, but if you're in a production environment, you're not going to press one shirt. You're going to be pressing a multitude of shirts. So what I'm doing is I have a small stack of t-shirts, got a small stack of transfers, and I'm going to try and press these as quickly as I can. As soon as I get done with this stack, I'm going to take the pyrometer and measure and see where our temperature is at. I'd like to see a good press is going to hold heat. It's going to be a good heat sink. So we'll see how this turns out. So now that we've pressed those shirts, I'm going to turn my pyrometer back on. Temperature, Fahrenheit. And let's test. All right, top left corner, I'm at 315. Top right, I'm at 317. There in the middle, 320, 321. There in the back. Wow, 290, 300. This back here. And about 300 as well. So I did notice some heat loss, and it may have an effect on how these transfers turn out. So our time has passed. We performed our wash testing on our garments, and the results are in. The results, a little lackluster. With very small amount of stretching this garment, I crack up and down. Now, whether it was because of insufficient heat or insufficient pressure, I'm not entirely certain. As far as I was concerned, I applied 325 degrees and heavy pressure on this machine. So some of the inconsistencies we measured may have contributed, or inconsistencies in the pressure as well. Would I recommend this machine to somebody? I would. I think we could increase the pressure and maybe work with the temperature to dial this in and do some more guesswork to get it to work. But I would recommend this press to make enough money to order a commercial heat press like the ones that we offer here at 613 Originals. Something like that to ensure that your customers are going to be coming back because you know you'll be giving them a quality product.